Hello, I'm Divya Gopalan in Kuala Lumpur with the top stories here in Al Jazeera. Eurozone countries and the International Monetary Fund have agreed on a plan to give debt-ridden Greece financial help. The 16-nation bloc and the IMF say they would loan money to Greece if the country was unable to raise money from the financial markets to pay off its debts. It's hoped this will reassure international investors that Greece is not at risk of default. Alan Fisher has more from Brussels.
The Greeks believe that they won't have to go to the Eurozone countries for this money. They believe now they can approach the international markets and say, we want to sell on our debt, what interest rate will you give us? Before, they believed that the interest rates being offered were far too high. And the markets knew that the Greeks didn't have a plan B. Now they do, now this safety net is in place.
In a new audio tape, the leader of Al-Qaeda has issued a warning to the United States. Osama Bin Laden says his group will kill any captured American hostages if the U.S. decides to execute the alleged mastermind of the 9/11 attacks, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Intelligence experts say the tape appears to be authentic. The Vatican says claims the Roman Catholic leader Pope Benedict was personally involved in covering up child sex abuse are an attempt to smear him. Benedict has been accused of failing to act before he became Pope when archbishops in the U.S. warned him about a priest accused of abusing 200 deaf boys. Venezuelan authorities have questioned the owner of Globovision, a television news network that's been highly critical of President Hugo Chavez. Guillermo Zuloaga says military intelligence agents detained him at an airport. He was then taken to Caracas for questioning over comments made in a media forum that were critical of Chavez's government. Officials say those remarks were considered offensive to the president. The UN Secretary-General says key nations want Myanmar's military rulers to allow all the country's people to take part freely in elections later this year. Ban Ki-moon called for political prisoners and detained opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi to be included in the vote. And the U.S. Congress has approved final changes to legislation to reform the country's healthcare system. Both the House of Representatives and the Senate have now passed the changes, which will increase subsidies to buy health insurance and give money to states to help pay for insurance for the poor. You can always get more news on our website. That's at aljazeera.net/English.